Post for 2025. I wanted to talk about what we are seeing with the US economy. We are calling it the macro lie. So basically, the numbers are not believable. Um, so what has happened is in the past, we always used to talk about, focus on the numbers, while the basically the narrative could be something else. But right now we have a situation where the macro numbers coming from the US are not believable. So that's what we're talking today. On one side, we hear that the GDP is rising, but jobs are disappearing. So that's the graph that you see out here. Um, so employment is pretty much flatlined. So what we're seeing is more of the bottom 90%, which is affected. Maybe the top 10% isn't affected. The top 10% of, I can say high earners aren't affected right here, but it's a large sections of the economy that is impacted currently. Uh, on the other side is that if the banking system is so robust, then why is the Fed intervening overnight? Right? This is basically a graph showing billions being uh, pushed into the banking system by the Fed. So the White House is signaling stability. The Fed's balance sheet is showing an underlying rotting system. We trust the cash flow, not the press release. So what is happening? The rot underneath. So manufacturing has been contracting all through the year. So we are at, yeah. So November numbers, December numbers, it's been contracting continuously. The consumer is definitely maxed out. So if you're part of that top 10% high earner, you're not probably affected by this, but a vast majority of the population is affected in the sense the credit card debt is growing, and the personal savings rates are coming down. So in order to keep up the spending, that's how people are basically managing that. Um, Tariff, it's basically a tax on the consumer. While we might think that it is a tax on China and whatever, it's basically the US consumer who is actually paying for it. So these are all the sectors where the balance sheet is showing the impact of tariff. Consumer electronics, automobile, renewable technology, industrial materials, apparel, etc. Yeah. So what are we doing with it? Um, we don't trust the numbers anymore. Over the last month and a half or almost 2 months, we've been building our own models to predict, um, what is the right numbers that we should be looking at. Um, so basically, the numbers don't match the reality. Uh, while you might believe the hype with AI and tech and growth, etc., the reality is we are not in a growth phase. We are in a slowing, declining phase as such. So you could continue buying the brochure at a very high cost, but the reality is we are not doing that anyway. So our approach is, we look at the balance sheet. We don't focus too much on the hype. So we are long on the value, so domestic industrials, real assets, discount retail, because 90% of the population is likely to go discount retail next year. So obviously that's where we want to look at. And we are shorting unprofitable tech, unprofitable ones in the other sectors, greenwashing, etc. While we might want to believe the lie that um, the US is anti ESG, there's still a lot of money going into ESG, and there's a lot of incentive to go into ESG. So the numbers tell us a completely different story altogether. So don't believe the news, believe the numbers. That's it for now. Just wishing you a very happy new year from the Helix Research team. Thank you.